Do you recognize these 5 faces? Look closely. 5 children with dark eyes and solemn expressions, frozen in time. From left to right, 14-year-old Maurice, 12-year-old Martha, 9-year-old Louis, 8-year-old Jenny, and 5-year-old Betty Sodder. And after nearly 80 years, we still don't know what happened to them. Christmas Eve, 1945. World War II has just ended, and American families are celebrating their first peacetime Christmas. In Fayetteville, West Virginia, George and Jenny Sodder, Italian immigrants with 10 children, are preparing for what should have been a joyous holiday. The older children had been allowed to stay up late. The house was warm, filled with laughter and holiday celebration. Around 1 a.m., George and Jenny jolted awake. Smoke was pouring into their bedroom. Their house was on fire. George immediately tried to get everyone out. 4 children sleeping on the first floor escaped with their parents, but 5 children were trapped upstairs: Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jenny, and Betty Sodder. George ran outside to grab the ladder that was always propped against the house. It was gone. He sprinted to his trucks, planning to drive them close to the house and climb on top. The first truck wouldn't start. Neither would the second. Both had worked perfectly just hours before. The fire spread with terrifying speed. The volunteer fire department didn't arrive for 7 hours. By then, the 2-story house had collapsed in just 45 minutes. As Christmas morning dawned, the Sodder family stood in shock. George, Jenny, and 4 children had survived, but 5 children were gone. Here's where this becomes more than a tragedy. When investigators sifted through the ashes, they found nothing. Not a single bone, not a tooth, not a trace of the 5 children. The authorities claimed the fire had burned so hot it completely cremated the bodies, but George and Jenny weren't buying it. Fire experts agreed with them. For human bones to be completely destroyed, a fire needs to burn at over 1800 degrees for several hours. The Sodder house fire burned for less than an hour. Even more telling, household appliances and furniture were still identifiable in the ruins. Then came the most disturbing revelation. The fire chief admitted he'd found what looked like a human heart in the ashes, which he quietly buried. When the Sodders demanded to see it, a funeral director examined it. It wasn't a human heart. It was a fresh beef liver that had never been exposed to fire. Someone had planted evidence at the scene. George and Jenny began piecing together something terrifying. The fire might not have been an accident at all. Months before Christmas, a life insurance salesman came to their home. When George refused to buy a policy, the man made a chilling threat. Your house is going up in smoke, and your children are going to be destroyed. He mentioned George's vocal opposition to Mussolini, saying it had made him enemies. Weeks before the fire, another stranger appeared, pointing at their electrical boxes and saying, "This is going to cause a fire someday." But the wiring had just been inspected and approved by the state fire marshal. Neighbors reported seeing a strange car repeatedly parked near the Sodder home, with people watching the younger children walk home from school. On the night of the fire, Jenny woke around 12:30 to a loud noise on the roof, like something had been thrown onto the house. 30 minutes later, the house was engulfed in flames. George's ladder had vanished. Both trucks suddenly wouldn't start. The phone lines had been cut. The fire department took 7 hours to respond to a call just 2.5 miles away. Coincidences? Or deliberate sabotage? Then came the sightings. A woman driving near Charleston early Christmas morning saw a car speeding away with children inside who matched the Sodders' descriptions. The children looked frightened. A hotel manager claimed a woman checked in with several disheveled children matching the descriptions. A waitress said she served breakfast to a similar group, noting the children seemed scared and the adults were speaking Italian, making sure the kids didn't talk to anyone. Reports came from Florida, New York, and other states. Were these credible witnesses, or were people seeing what they wanted to see? George and Jenny held on to hope. In 1949, they erected a massive billboard along Route 16, featuring the 5 children's photographs. Missing, 5 Sodder children. The reward grew to $10,000. For nearly 38 years, that billboard stood as a haunting reminder to thousands of daily travelers. Then, in 1967, something chilling happened. Jenny received an envelope with no return address. Inside was a photograph of a young man in his late 20s. On the back, someone had written, "Louis Sodder, I love brother Frankie." Louis was one of the missing children. Frankie was one of the surviving sons. The man in the photo would have been the right age. Was this really Louis, reaching out after 22 years? The Sodders hired a private detective to trace the photograph. He took their money and traveled to Kentucky, where the letter was postmarked. Then he vanished. Completely disappeared. The family never heard from him again. Did he discover something dangerous? Or was he a con artist? We'll never know. George Sodder died in 1969, never knowing what happened to his children, but convinced they'd been taken. Jenny lived until 1989, maintaining until her final days that her children were alive somewhere. So what really happened? One theory suggests the children were kidnapped as revenge for George's anti-Mussolini stance. Italian-American communities in the 40s were sometimes divided on fascism, and George had been outspoken. Another theory points to organized crime. The children may have been trafficked, perhaps even overseas. There's also the possibility of a personal vendetta, someone who wanted to destroy George in the most painful way possible. The questions multiply. Who threw something on the roof? Why did the ladder disappear? Why wouldn't the truck start? Why the 7-hour delay? Why were phone lines cut? Why was a beef liver planted? Who sent that photograph? What happened to the investigator? And most haunting, if those children were kidnapped, where did they go? Are their descendants alive today, completely unaware of their Sodder heritage? The Sodder case has become legendary in true crime circles. It's been featured in countless documentaries and podcasts. Amateur detectives and professional investigators have tried to crack it, but answers remain elusive. Modern forensic science might help if the site could be properly excavated, but the property has changed hands multiple times, and any evidence is long gone. Look at those 5 faces one more time. Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jenny, and Betty Sodder. 5 children who should have grown up and lived full lives. Instead, they disappeared on Christmas morning, 1945. If they somehow survived, they'd be in their 80s and 90s now. Most likely, they've passed away. But somewhere, there might be grandchildren or great-grandchildren carrying Sodder DNA, completely unaware of the mystery surrounding their ancestry. The truth is buried somewhere, in old memories, hidden documents, or family secrets passed down through generations. The Sodder children deserve to have their story resolved. This is why these stories matter. Every cold case represents real people and real suffering that deserves acknowledgement. If you're fascinated by mysteries that challenge everything we think we know, stories that blur the line between tragedy and conspiracy, cold cases that refuse to be forgotten, subscribe to this channel. There are so many more stories waiting to be told. Stories that will keep you awake at night. Stories that will make you question the official narratives. Hit that subscribe button. The Sodder children are just the beginning. The truth is out there, waiting to be discovered.